Dr. Kiran is a dermatologist and a skin expert, and we'll be talking about all your skin problems during PMS and PCOD. But before that, Dr. Kiran, how are you? Like, how's life in lockdown? Are you well?
I'm doing well. I think I just got through the other side. First, I was super productive and super active. Then I went through like a 3-week lull where I was like super sad and I don't know. And I didn't know how to be with myself without being productive. And then now I'm just like happy.
Yeah, it's getting to a point where it's definitely feels quite frustrating, but I mean, it is what it is. Nobody knows. I think we're all doing our best. So I think that's good enough for now. But
exactly.
So, we get a lot of comments and we get a lot of DMs from women who obviously deal with, all of us have skin issues, especially during our period. We all break out PMS and a lot of women have PCOD. So could you talk a little bit about this topic?
Yeah, absolutely. So PCOD is obviously, I view it as more of like a lifestyle thing. I think that the way we eat every 2 hours, we have all this sugar, all this processed food, all this dairy, all of that is actually causing a lot of PCOS because we didn't have it 20 years ago, right? But now every other woman you meet has PCOS. So it definitely has to do with our lifestyle and the way we're living and stress. And there's all different types of PCOS. There's cortisol, there's stress-related PCOS, there's insulin-related PCOS, there's post-oral contraceptive PCOS. So there's different types, and we just analyze, also inflammatory. So we analyze which one it is, and then we go from there. But, but what happens is our hormones are basically a mess. And it's not just like, oh, we have one hormone that's a problem. Your estrogen can be elevated, but then your progesterone is also too low. Maybe your estrogen is normal, but your progesterone is too low. So it's about the ratio of estrogen to progesterone. And if that ratio is off, then you get that like PMS acne and, rosacea flares and all of that. So that's very common. So I do a lot of things like how do we balance? So I give you things like B complex, magnesium. That's really good for PMS acne. We do something called seed cycling, which if you go on my Instagram profile, you can check that out. And we'll be doing a lot more stuff on estrogen dominance, which is that PMS type acne. So that's great. You'll also, when you come to my thing, you'll also see I'm also going to be doing SOSs. So, there's a lot of different things that we can do for it. So it's not something that I want you to feel like it's not possible to handle. It's very possible to handle. It just takes time and it takes effort, but you do see a difference. And in fact, I'm doing if you go on like Dr. Jolene Brighton's page, you'll see she's a wonderful person who deals with a lot of this stuff. You'll see a lot of information also on how to handle a lot of PMS related stuff internally. So a lot of people right now are talking about bleeding and stuff. So she actually tells you a lot of good supplements to deal with that. So there's just so much information now out and about to help us, and I think it's wonderful.
I think it's amazing that there is so much information and people are so willing to talk about it. But at some level, when you do have that breakout, or say you do have cystic acne or PCOD or whatever it is, there's some element of really feeling like you're alone in this and that you almost feel embarrassed by it. I know so many friends who struggle with it, who feel like, oh, I don't want to get out of the house today,
Yeah, it's very common and it's very depressing. And, there's an enormous amount of depression and anxiety associated with acne and cystic acne. It makes sense, right? We look at our world. Our world is all about, so much about like what you look like. So of course you're going to feel so sensitive about it. It's completely normal. If I have a pimple, I'm sensitive about it, and I already know that I can get rid of it, right? If I have a few pimples, I get some acne, I take the wrong, sometimes, you take the wrong supplement and you take the wrong bite, things can trigger you, right? Anybody can be triggered. Who knows what you're going to respond to? Even if I can feel the same anxiety, why wouldn't anyone else? And I'm somebody who knows how to get rid of it, right?
So how would
it's very normal. Huh?
What is your top recommendation for when women break out during their period? Would you say that to just let it be? Or
I give so I start them on supplements. So I always start them on supplements like 2-Inova, which is myo-inositol. I start them on things like coconut water, which is a natural source of selenium. I start them on magnesium. I start them on B complex. Now I've started recommending seed cycling, which is where you do 2 seeds for the first 2 weeks of your cycle and 2 seeds for the last 2 weeks of your cycle. You know, these are all like natural, holistic things that we all can do at home. You know, easy things, right?
Yeah.
So that usually I start with that, which I think is important, and that's actually really important, and that really helps. And then I give SOS, like a great SOS for PMS related acne is Vaseline petroleum jelly. It's great, just dab it on, that's it. It really helps calm it down. Yeah, Vaseline petroleum jelly is great for specifically PMS related acne because it's always that like inflamed one, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great for that.
Yeah. I tend to just leave it. I feel like
you can leave it. You can also leave it. It will go away. It is PMS related. It will go away in a few days. Depends on how big it is. If it's a nodule or a cyst, then it can take 2 months. But if it's a smaller one, it can take a week. You know, so it's okay.
Right. I always feel like, okay, hey, you know, I know I'm gonna get one pimple during my period, and it comes, and I'm like, okay, hi, welcome to my face, and I hope you leave soon. But sometimes they're so intense that they leave scars. So what would do you have any holistic, natural, easy things people can do at home, especially during lockdown, where they may not have access to buying?
So the thing is when it comes to anything that's leaving a scar means that there's enough inflammation and it's deep enough, all right? So the deeper and the more inflamed it is, the more likely it's going to cause a scar. Like I said, Vaseline is one thing. If it's a nodule, you can try and do warm compresses a few times a day. You know, that can help bring it up. That's something you can do. If it's like a little whitehead or a blackhead, you can do like a salicylic acid spot treatment or like a sulfur spot treatment like Curiac gel. That's basically it. When it comes to marks, you know, there's really not that much that you can do as a home remedy because what'll happen is you end up irritating the skin more, which is not what you want to do. You know, so like, I mean, these are things you can do at home, like I just said, and they're fine. But like other things you can do is, again, like I said, supplements, right? Seed cycling, myo-inositol, magnesium, B complex.
So could you talk a little bit about acne specifically in cases where there's PCOD as well?
So acne with PCOD means that there's a hormonal cause. It can be estrogen related, it can be cortisol related, it can be excess insulin related. So it depends on the type of PCOS. But again, so we work a lot on balancing those hormones. So exercise, intermittent fasting is wonderful for high rhythm, is wonderful for actually PCOS. Cutting out dairy, cutting out sugar, cutting out high glycemic foods, cutting out gluten. That also makes a big difference. Anything processed, guys. So I tell my patients, I'm like, if it tastes good and it comes in a packet, you shouldn't eat it. So they're always like, I hate you. I'm like, no, but that's the truth. And PCOD is not essentially curable. It just means that you have a tendency towards, you have a tendency towards this imbalance, and you can get triggered. So you should do your level best to try and improve your health. You know, so eat healthy, exercise. It's like what I've started believing is that your skin tells you something's wrong, you know? So when it comes to acne, your skin is telling you something's wrong. Now, could it be, sometimes if it's mild, it could be just the products you're using or the way you're using the product. So that's one thing. I always do a product check. What are you using? How are you using it? How much makeup are you using? You know, what products are you putting in your hair? It's so detailed, right? So that's one. The next thing we look at, is it anything but acne? Maybe it's also rosacea. Maybe it's also, you know, dandruff on the face. Then we look at hormones. Then we look at stress, you know? So like there's so many different things that I look at. But your skin is telling you something's wrong. Why are you getting acne? Something's wrong, right? When you're a kid, when you're a teenager, fine, that's fine. It makes sense something's wrong. Your hormones are changing. It's normal. You're 18, your hormones are changing. You're 16, your hormones are changing. You just got your period. It's a very normal time for when your hormones are changing at that age to get acne. That's common. That's normal. We grew up knowing that it was normal to get pimples when you're a teenager, right? We did not grow up thinking that when we're adults we're going to get acne. Now you can say in America they say 50% of adults are going to get acne. 50%. Something that never ever we would have conceived of 20 years ago. We would never have thought that, you know, our grandmother might get acne or our mother might get acne. We would never have seen our mothers with acne, but now most mothers get acne. In fact, there's an entire trend with celebrities, even Kylie Jenner saying like, here are my pimples, whatever. It's apparently 50% of us are going to get it. So here you go. You know, just completely being open about it, because now it's actually sort of become a part of life. And I really think it has to do the way we've lived and eaten. Lived, eaten, existed, everything.
Yeah. What are your views on a skincare routine during lockdown?
I think that people never do their routine when they're not home. I think when they're not home is when they literally don't do their routine. So why not use the routine while you can, right? Nobody ever does anything they're supposed to when they're not home. They're running around like crazy people. They're out and about. Everyone's super stressed, you know? And now is the time to do it. Now is actually the best time to do it. In fact, the people who are doing their skincare routine, a lot of them are feeling better. Of course, a lot of us, I will warn you, a lot of us during lockdown are getting acne and rosacea and things like that because of the sheer amount of stress we're dealing with. And everyone's like, but I'm home, why should I be stressed? And I'm like, but your whole life has changed. Your whole life has been upended. And yes, you might be home, but you're home, you're forced to be home, you know, and when you can't leave. And that's not it's not a normal situation. So, you know, pretending that you're not stressed is actually going to make you more stressed, or it's actually going to cause a lot more hormonal irregularity than actually accepting that it's a concern. You know, so accept it. It's okay. You're allowed to be stressed. Yes, I understand. We're at home. Great. But it's not fun all the time. It's okay.
Foods that are magnesium rich?
I don't remember. There are so many. I'm sorry. I don't remember off the top of my head. But like supplements are the easiest because you want the right dose. You want anywhere from 100 to 400 milligrams a day.
Okay.
No, but sorry, nuts, Brazil nuts, almonds. Almonds have it. Coconut water, I believe, has magnesium as well. So I'm a big fan of coconut water. I think it's I think it's a great thing. I think we're meant to have it in India. So.
Yeah, we're very lucky that it's so easily available, and
I try and drink coconut water every day because it's even good for water hydration, right? It doesn't matter. The thing is if you know anything about water metabolism, it's that if you drink plain water, it's less hydrating than if you drink water with electrolytes. So I think it makes sense that in hot weather, we have things like coconut water and we drink it because it probably just made us much more hydrated. It's way more hydrating than normal water. Some nuts can trigger acne. So if you're going to have nuts, have a small quantity and soak them and peel them. That makes it better. The phytic compounds become a bit less. But some people are not triggered. Some people are. Legumes like peanuts can be triggering because they're very inflammatory. Almonds and cashews okay for acne. Again, have it in moderation and see if you're triggered. Everybody is differently triggered, right? Some people can have almonds and cashews all day, but some people you give them like 3 almonds and they're just like miserable. So everybody's really different. Understand yourself. Pay attention to yourself, you know? So that really works. So
I think that we're good for now, and I just want to thank you for joining us. And
thank you for having me.
Terrible internet. And to everyone who's watching, I will sort this out before tomorrow's live, but please do come back at 7:30 tomorrow. And thank you so much
for having me.
And take care of yourself. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.